Greetings and welcome to this channel. This is Limat right here. In this video we are going to be talking about Tanzania. So if you're watching this video, it means you're planning to come to this country or you just have an interest about Tanzania. Either way, make sure you watch this video from the beginning to the end because it's going to be a very useful video. There's a video I posted on this channel when I was traveling to this country and someone dropped a comment asking about the entry requirements. And then I decided to make this video to respond to that and also talk about some of the things that I feel they are important for someone to know if they are planning to come to this country. You know, Tanzania is an amazing country. I love it here. The first time I arrived in this country, I mean, it was just love at first sight.
Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. You can see with the big man here driving. You say what? Ujambo.
Jambo. Jambo, mambo. Say poa.
For those who doesn't have an idea where Tanzania is located in East Africa. It borders with Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, DRC, Zambia, Malawi, Mozambique. On the eastern part, that's where you find the Indian Ocean. Tanzania is the home of the famous Mount Kilimanjaro, as well as the Serengeti National Park, the popular island Zanzibar. You also find it here. You can come and have fun. The Serengeti National Park, that's where you find wide range of wild animals. I mean, I can go on and on about Tanzania. I mean, it is a lot to offer. So I can spend the whole day talking about it. So without wasting much of your time, let's go straight into today's video. We are going to be talking about things that you need to know before you come to this country. So I'm going to start with the entry requirements. I mean, the process is not that complicated. Obviously, you need to bring your valid passport. On top of that, you must have a yellow fever vaccination card and a COVID-19 vaccination certificate. If you have those, you're good to go. The COVID-19 vaccination certificate must have a QR code so that the authorities will be able to scan it and verify whether it is valid and legit. If it doesn't have a QR code, then you are subjected to a COVID-19 test. The same way with someone who doesn't have a COVID-19 vaccination certificate, they are also subjected to a COVID-19 test. It's just a rapid test where you have to pay $10 US, then you can proceed. So now if everything is in order, then you just proceed to the immigration, whatever, and then they will stamp on your passport and give you the number of days that you are allowed to stay in the country. I remember when I came here, I was awarded 93 days. I think if your country have a good relationship with this country, then the maximum number of days that you can get is 90 days free, visa free. I didn't pay anything. They just said 90 days and I got in. I just said to them I need 90 days. They didn't ask me so many questions. But in some cases they can ask you questions like where are you going? Where are you going to stay here in Tanzania? And then questions like that. So yeah, basically that's about the entry requirements. It's not a complicated process. Just remember your valid passport, yellow fever vaccination card, that one is very important, and the COVID-19 vaccination certificate. Now the process might vary depending which port of entry you're using. If you are using the airport, the process is not that very complicated because probably I think they assume that the airlines have already done their clean job. But if you're coming by road, it's gonna be kind of hectic. Trust me, I came through the airport and I also came through the border by road. Yeah, so that's it about the entry requirements. Now let's move on to communication. Now, hey, I want to be honest. Communication in Tanzania is a big problem. I struggled because I didn't know Swahili. So if you're planning to come to this country, please try to invest in learning a little bit of Swahili. Go on Duolingo or any other website and try to learn a little bit of Swahili. Maybe just some minor greetings as well as maybe numbers, because here everything is in Swahili. Most of the population, from what I have realized, is that they struggle to speak in English.
On a serious note, I get where the translator is coming from. In Tanzania, only 4 people can speak in English. The president, the official minister of foreign affairs, that translator, and Almasi. Almasi also doubles up as the minister of affairs with foreigners.
I've seen even some of the students who are at a university level and they don't speak English very well. So it's like that. So if you are in the streets, sometimes you might struggle. But if you are in a formal situation or in an area where you're among the educated population, then it's going to be easy for you. But trust me, try as much as possible to learn Swahili to make things easier for you. Even if you want to buy something, you might want to bargain, you know. for them to reduce the price for you. We always do that here when you're buying something maybe from the street or from the market. For them to reduce the price, you must speak in Swahili. If you go and ask how much is this, hey, the price is just going to go up. But anyway, cool. That's about the communication here in Tanzania. Safety is also one of the major things that you need to talk about when you're traveling to a new country. But safety in Tanzania is not compromised at all. I feel safe in this country. I don't want to lie. Ever since I arrived in this country, I've never seen anything that threatens my safety. So for that, I actually applaud Tanzania for doing a great job. I mean, I can walk at night in the streets with my phone, you know, on WhatsApp or Facebook or Instagram, and nothing can happen. But I'm not saying it's 100% safe. You know, a country can never be 100% safe. Sometimes things can happen here and there, but in Tanzania I can say it is pretty safe, especially here in Dar es Salaam where I'm living. Maybe I've never been in the wrong places, but I've never experienced anything that threatens my security here in Tanzania. When it comes to safety, I think Tanzania is number one. Another thing that I feel it's worth mentioning is about electricity and water. Sometimes it won't be there, sometimes it will be there. I mean, if you are an African, this sounds normal, right? But if you're coming maybe from other part of the world, then this might be new to you. When I was staying in Namibia, we never really had these problems. So it was very problematic for me when I came here. I was like, hey, why did I move from Namibia? I mean, but yeah, now I'm used. Sometimes it's like the whole day there's no electricity, then it comes back in the evening. Sometimes a few hours. Water, the same thing. Water can even go maybe for 2 days. And then, yeah, when it comes, then we start from there. Yeah, that's the story of Africa, man. This is not only a problem for Tanzania. Many Africans can testify that in their respective country they also have these problems. But I thought it was also worth mentioning so that when you're coming to this country, you are prepared. So now let's talk about money. Money is very, very important. So when you come to Tanzania, you are going to use Tanzanian shillings. So you need to exchange your currency to Tanzanian shillings. You're not going to use US dollars here. You're not going to use kwachas here or rands here. You're going to exchange and then buy Tanzanian shillings. So if you're traveling by road, you can buy those at the border. But if you're coming by airport, places where you can change there at the airport. And if you don't manage to change that time, you can also change within the country. There are a lot of places where you can exchange your money to the local currency. So as I'm recording this video, I think 2,300 Tanzanian shillings is equal to $1. So you do the maths and check with other currencies as well. But I think the US dollar is like the kind of basis that is easy to use in this context. But yeah, so when you change, you get your Tanzanian shillings. Let me show you what they look like. These are the Tanzanian shillings. This is like 2,000 Tanzanian shillings. It's called Elfu. This is why I said it's important for you to learn Swahili, because when you come here, there's no 2,000, there's no 1,000 Tanzanian shillings. It's elfu moja, elfu mbili, elfu tatu. So it will be difficult for you now to calculate those numbers in your head when they are said to you in Swahili. That's why I say it's important to invest in learning Swahili before you come to Tanzania. But for me, I think I managed to learn a few words. Now I can move around easily, but I'm not that good with Swahili. I used to think that Swahili is easy to learn, but I realized that it's kind of difficult. Yeah, but I'm trying to learn. I don't diss Tanzanian for not speaking English. Those that don't speak English, I don't have a problem with them. I'm not trying to say if you don't speak English, then you're not intelligent or something like that. I mean, it's important for them to promote their local language, but I'm just giving you an idea so that when you're coming here, you know what to expect. Don't come here and think that everyone is going to understand you when you speak English. So when you come to Tanzania, you also have to consider transport, you know, how you're going to move around. Transport is also very, very important. But here in Tanzania, we have plenty of options to move around. I mean, if you have your own car, you can drive yourself around. But there is what do they call daladala? These are just mini buses that you can use to move around. There is also bikes, they call them boda boda, that you can also use to move around. And then there are also bajajis that we can also use use those to move around. They have like three wheels. Some they call them tuk or something like that. I don't know exactly the term, but it looks like this. And then there's also the the big buses, we call them mwendokasi here. These ones are pretty fast and efficient. Yeah, but the only problem I found here in Tanzania is if you are using public transport like these buses, sometimes they can be fully packed, that you can't even breathe in there. It will be fully packed. But you have plenty of options, but it depends with your budget. If you want to use boat like a taxi, it can be a bit costly. If you want to use the public transport like the buses, they are a bit cheaper. The border guys, you know, the price is reasonable, but those ones, I think your safety is kind of compromised because sometimes they are fast and sometimes they don't even give you the helmet. But here you have plenty of options when it comes to transport here in Tanzania. Now let's talk about the weather. The weather is also very important because when you're traveling to go to a new place, you need to pack some clothes, you need to be prepared, maybe the lotion that you use, your sunscreen or whatever. When you come to Tanzania, I mean, it's very hot, especially here in Dar es Salaam. It's extremely hot. I never expected that it would be this hot here in Dar es Salaam. But yeah, in other parts of Tanzania, they say it's kind of cool. Maybe when you talk areas like Arusha, I've never been there, but I've been told that there it's kind of cold. In the northern part of Tanzania, but here in Dar es Salaam it is extremely hot. So just be prepared if you are coming to Dar es Salaam that you don't need the jackets or anything. You need to leave them and then just come maybe with vest or anything. Yeah, when you come. Another important thing that I think you should know before you come to this country is about accommodation. Now, accommodation in Tanzania, I find it very cheap. Actually, when I'm comparing Namibia and Tanzania, I can say accommodation in Namibia is very expensive. In Tanzania, accommodation is kind of cheap from my own point of view. Now, I think if you are renting maybe probably a room, they start from 100,000 Tanzanian shillings, going up 100,000 Tanzanian shillings, 150,000 Tanzanian shillings, 200,000 Tanzanian shillings, yeah, like that. And I think the minimum that you can get is 100,000 if you want a reasonable accommodation. I don't really know about the good places that you can go to, because I have never rented a home here in Tanzania, so I cannot really give an honest opinion about that. But if it's just like rooms, yeah, that's like the average amount that you'd expect to pay here in Tanzania. When it comes like to cost of living, let's say buying food and stuff like that, or groceries, it's kind of cheap if you buy in local stores. If you go like to local shops, they call them duka. That's where you go and buy something that is, you know, affordable. Or you can go to markets if you want to buy like clothes. There's a big market here called Kariakoo, and another one I think it's called Karume, where they sell second-hand clothes. Yeah, if you want cheap stuff, let me not say like cheap, something that is affordable, you know, you find it there. Even electronics, you find them there. But if you have money and you can afford, then you can go and buy maybe in malls. We have a famous mall here in Tanzania called Mlimani City, so I'm sure you can buy from there. But there, to buy in a mall, I've seen that the prices are kind of high, so mostly it's for people who are up there in the society who can actually afford to go and buy there. But if you're buying maybe food like in the streets like that, it is really affordable. Let's talk about the internet. The internet in Tanzania, I think it's affordable. There are so many service providers here in this country. There is Vodacom, there is Airtel, there is Tigo, there is I don't even know all of them, but yeah, they are a lot. So you have a wide range of them to choose from, wide range of internet service providers to choose from, and I think their prices are kind of reasonable. 1 GB you can buy for 2,500 shillings. I think that's like the average price for 1 GB. But there are so many options. You can buy a daily internet data bundle, or you can buy a weekly internet data bundle, or you can buy a monthly internet data bundle. When it comes to the Wi-Fi charges, honestly, I don't know, because I've never used the Wi-Fi here in Tanzania, so I don't know the charges. I think if you can check on the website, you can find the information on the internet. Basically, you can find it there. So I always like to talk about this. When you are coming to Tanzania and you're bringing along gadgets, for you not to be inconvenienced, because I always like to advise people, because I also like to move around the gadgets, maybe a laptop, maybe a camera, or maybe your phone. You just want to charge it, connect it to power, something like that. If you're coming from a country where you have round plugs or round sockets, those round holes where you put in your charger or whatever, here we use those box here, like is it a square or a rectangle? But those holes, like they are like a square. Yeah, I don't know whether it's a square or a rectangle, but that's what we have here. It's a small issue that can be easily fixed, but sometimes it can inconvenience you. But for you to just be prepared, just know what to expect when you're coming to Tanzania. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you have learned one thing or two about Tanzania. I'm going to be doing more videos about Tanzania, sharing more important information about Tanzania. Yeah, see you in the next video, and please don't forget to subscribe.